live. Yeah, this is the Beesoft components, headless components discussion. We've got Cliv here with us from the team, who's been working on been working on some components, been helping out. Really quickly, I'm going to check X. I want to see if they've got the correct URL. So let me pop over to there, kind of take a look, see if I can find us out there.
Yes, it's
We
live.
are out there. It's live. Is it the same one that we posted? I'm not sure if it is or not. Let me go to mine here real quick. My profile. I'll just check the thing that I posted. Oh, yeah, it is. It is the one. Awesome. Okay.
Yes, it's
So that is good. That is really good. All right. All right. So looks like we're fully live everywhere. So that's good. So what we're going to be talking about today, unfortunately, at least for myself, it's not going to be any coding. Cliff does have some code that he's gonna do a little show and learn kind of thing once he takes over. But basically, we're going to be talking about headless components and how Beesoft components is going to utilize them, things of that nature. First thing, what are headless components? I'm not sure how many people have actually heard of this, but headless components are a concept of separating the visual from the logic inside of a component. Basically, headless components are components that are composed mostly of just the logic. Now, yes, they can have markup, but whatever markup they do have is minimal and is unstyled. That's really the concept behind headless components. Is basically you're being provided the actual working pieces, um, the actual real meat of the component, the parts that actually do all of the work, and then you as the developer are being allowed to provide the interface and make it look the way you want to. I mean, obviously, a lot of components out there today, and Bsoft does this as well, give you the ability to define your own templates and really allow you to customize a lot of what's going on. And that's what we do in Bsoft, because we want you to feel like these are your components. These are things that you can make look and feel the way you want to, but there still is some control that we keep in the background. There's certain, you know, borders and boundaries and things of that nature we put around the component, and make them work certain ways. We use certain of our own components to make them work, and we're kind of just giving you the ability to style the majority of the pieces, but we still have some of the control under the hood of that whole thing. Headless components cuts that completely off. Basically, you have control, visually at least, of absolutely everything, and that's really where the concept comes from. And it's I think it's becoming more and more popular. I'm seeing a lot more people out there that are publishing headless components. um, it's like I said, it's a really good concept. I like to think of it like MVC without the M. Basically, you're providing the view part, and we're providing the controller part. So that's really where I think a lot of the drive to do this is. It's putting even more control in the final developer's hands, letting them build the way they want to build. If maybe they don't want something that's square, they want something that's round. I mean, it sounds crazy, but you never know. There's some pretty wild interfaces out there, and people may want to customize it to that level. Um, so, that's what headless components are. What is Bsoft going to be doing about it? Well, currently, we are in the process, and I just started this task. I took this task on today to define the actual framework, the actual interface pieces, all of that kind of stuff, to to put the basis together so that when we go to create these headless components, they'll work the same across the board. They'll interact the same across the board, so that you can have a common way of understanding how they're going to work. So if one, as long as you get it down for one component, they should all work pretty much the same way. Um, and so the task will be, first of all, this task is task one, getting the kind of a base. I don't know if it's going to be a base component, if it's going to be just some base pieces. I've seen it done. I've gone through a number of other libraries out there that do it, and they kind of some build some really base level pieces, some build some components, and kind of very base components that then they can override. We're going to kind of see what works best for us. That's, like I said, that's a task I'm taking on now, and then we're going to go through all of our current components, and we're going to actually build out we're gonna rebuild our components basically with the headless components there. So we're gonna take out all of the actual logic that's currently sitting in our components and put them into a headless component. For the time being, it will be stored in an actual inside the actual Beesoft components library. Once we get that done, I already have a repository created, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a new repository. There'll be a monorepo because I do plan on possibly moving on to other libraries as well. The React's not the only front end library I've worked in, so it'd be nice to maybe have the possibility down the road to create some further headless components in other component libraries as well, but it will become its own library that will then be exported itself. So then you'll have the choice. You can either use if you like the Beesoft component styling and the way it looks and feels overall, you can continue to use it, and there'll really be no change from your perspective. But if you want to have a little bit more control, you'll have the ability to have this new library. So the library itself will be exported, and from then on out, what's going to happen is every single component in the Beesoft component library will start its life as a headless component, will get exported from the headless library, and then we will import it into Beesoft components and then build the actual visual interface there. That has a couple of advantages. One of the first advantages is it makes you really have to think about what you're doing from a coding perspective, from a JavaScript perspective, what's important, what needs to happen, those kinds of things. And then also you can actually look into Beesoft components, which would be nice, and see how we implemented our own headless components to give you an idea how maybe you could go about using the headless components to develop your own components. So it's kind of a win-win. It helps us out, makes us be a little bit more methodical in the way we're doing things, step through things, all that kind of stuff. Maybe hopefully create some better components, since we have to think of the logic first and then think of the interface. So, and then you kind of get the advantage because you can use the head components, but then you don't have to have them. You don't have to use Bsoft, but you can use it as an example for how to build your own components with our headless library. So that's pretty much what I was going to say. Cliv here he's been working on his own headless component, which is a transition component. Basically, Bsoft currently, we're trying to build some more animatable pieces, trying to make our components look nice, look inviting. I don't know how many of you have been out there and seen a lot of UIs lately, but a lot of the UIs are very much interactive. They're trying to have some minimal animations, even with basic components and things of that nature, and that's something we're trying to do as well. Um, but also, we want it to be something that you don't have to have. Currently, all of the Bsoft components that do have animations can be turned off if you don't like them. And so, yeah, that's where we're trying to go. But I'll go ahead and I'll see if I can switch over to Cliv here and give him the main screen. If this doesn't go well, I'm sorry. This is our first time doing this. I'm going to try to maximize him, and hopefully that'll minimize me. So let's give this a shot. There we go.
Okay, thanks, Brandon. I'm sharing my screen now. Maybe I need to disconnect for a little, but
If you have to, that's okay.
because it's
Like
the
I said,
first
everyone.
time.
Yeah, this is yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he had to. I think he's using a Mac, so he had to give it permissions, which means then he has to disconnect and reconnect. If none of you have ever done that before. All right, looks like he's coming back in. For those of you who aren't really sure, it's about 9 o'clock p.m. over here. So I've my office normally is more well lit than this, but I'm usually working in here during the day, so I only have a single light. So yeah, let's see here. It looks like he's back, and it looks like he's sharing. Let's see if we can maximize this. Yeah, I think that's you sharing. Let's see. There's a chat. There's a chat message. Let's see here. Oh, that was worthless. Let's see.
Is the VS Code showing now on the screen or?
No, it does have something over here. Let's see here. What can we do? Let's see here. Edit name. Nope. Definitely don't remove the source. I do see a screen that has your name on it, but let's see here. You're both turned on. Oh, well, there that went. Try it again, maybe.
Maybe I will have to open the VS Code window. Oh, okay, now it's. Is it visible now?
Hang on. I got to show it, and there it is. All right, now it's visible. Let's see if we can make it look. Is there a way you can go full screen on that? Let's see here. Maximize. Nope. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's a bit better. Here, let me close it. See how it looks for me. Okay, yeah. That's looking pretty good. I think. I think if people have it full screen, they can probably see pretty well. All right, you go ahead,
Okay.
Cliff.
Okay, so this is the transition component, headless transition one. So firstly, this is the first version. Maybe it look a bit primitive, but other versions will look good. And also we will try with real components to see the UI. So transitions are an essential part for creating engaging, intuitive, and accessible web apps. They contribute to a smoother user experience and improve the overall usability and appeal of the application. So this is the our component. The first part is this the use state that manages the state of transition set based on the in prop, which determines whether the transitions should be activated or not. The first use effect is for transition handling based on the in prop changes here. So we had some current states for entering, entered, exiting, or when the component is exited. And the component transitions between different states like entering and so on and so forth. Inside the use effect are set transitions between states with a specific timeout, as we see here. The other use effect is for transition event and is used to trigger the is entering callback or the exiting based on the states that we have here, the current state. And in the end, we return the rendered content based on the current state of the transition. So that's in the first version, the first part. Maybe other day we can try in the real component to see how it would look. That's it from my side. Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah. We do have. We definitely have places where we are using it. I'm going to put myself back on screen there. There we go. So yeah, we definitely have places within Beesoft components currently where we're using. I think it's the CSS transition library. The reason that I wanted to maybe have our own is, first of all, if we're going to build our own components, I want to make sure we're building them in the best way possible. Um, I meant to check before this how active the CSS transition library is. I don't know how many of you have noticed, but a lot of open source libraries they start off great and they really have a lot of gumption behind them. They get a lot of stuff done, and some of them truly, as some people have made mention to me when I've said this, some of them truly reach a point where they really don't need any further development. Of course, the guy who said that to me was talking about C libraries and things like that that really don't really need to change all too much when you're doing standard things and stuff like that. But then I explained to him, I'm talking about JavaScript libraries, those, JavaScript, and it's not that C's probably not getting development on it. I'm sure there are some people out there still developing new features for C, and I haven't been in C since university, so I can't really say. Um, but JavaScript is an ever-changing environment, an ever-changing platform, an ever-changing language. New framework features all the time, new JavaScript features all the time. A good example, I've put up, well, I've done a little bit more in the placeholder. I did a really quick early first version of a library that I refer to as Zehen. It's basically a drag drop library. Zehen is the German word for drag. And so there's a library I really do like a lot, and it's called Dragula. And I'm sure many of you who have done any kind of UI development have probably seen Dragula at one point or another. It's a really great library. The one problem I have with it is its initial development. Most of it was about 8 years ago, and since about 3 years ago, he hasn't accepted a single pull request to the library. About 4 years ago, he stopped blogging on his blog. I think, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, the library works very well, but there are a lot of people that have made requests that I kind of thought were a good idea to have, and just haven't been done. So that's kind of where I'm heading with Bsoft components, or well, the whole quote unquote Bsoft collective altogether is to try and create a company that's not just trying to build things and then walk away from them, but build things and continue to maintain, uh, continue to realize that as JavaScript advances, so should our libraries. They should try to use the latest JavaScript features, especially when they become more concrete, more permanent, and they're getting good use and things of that nature. Um, yeah, I think that's a good time to maybe consider actually start bringing some things in, making some minor changes, trying to make sure that we provide the best things possible. And especially if you want to be a component library, we definitely need to be keeping things up to date and that type of stuff. So that's really what we're kind of working on. I wish I had some code to show you myself, but the last live stream I did was about the item scroller. um, yeah, that got completed. It actually got pulled into the library. I think I posted the link to Beesoft components out there. If anyone wants to go and take a look, you can just go back and look at the previous PR that just got pulled in. Look through the code if you wish, see what we did, see how I did certain things, stuff like that. I'm always trying to do things about learning and trying to help people. And I've had a number of people hit me up on X recently asking questions, and I do my best to try to get back and answer them as quickly as possible. Like I said, I really am trying. I really am here trying to help people out. I've got a good amount of experience. I've been doing this a little over 23 years now, about 23 and a half years. Um, about 10 of that, 2012. Yeah, okay, a little bit more than 10 of that. So yeah, maybe close to about 12 of that has been in front end technologies. That doesn't mean I'm only a front end dev. Even in my last job, I still did some back end database, API, and then building the front end. So I definitely call myself a full stack developer, and when people ask, I usually say I'm a full stack developer, but my recent focus has definitely been front end focused. I don't know about anyone else, but I kind of like it. The reason I like it is, like most people say, people who work, I've seen, especially on X recent, people who post about Python and things like that. They're like, man, I love Python, but there's just nothing visual to show. It's all data, it's all this, it's all that, and that is the one drawback. You can create these absolutely amazing libraries, and they have no visual interface at all. No wow factor, except for people who really appreciate that type of stuff, who've written that type of stuff, and I've done those a lot in my career, so I can understand. I mean, it's still a lot of fun to do, isn't it? It really is, especially when you create an amazing piece of an amazing framework, an amazing library, an amazing whatever, and it works like you expect it to, and it really makes things better, helps people out. We're I just got a guy today who signed up for the project and wants to help working on the project. We're open to taking new people on. Um, we definitely want you guys to hit us up, ask questions about what we're doing. If you're interested in getting involved, we definitely would like that. I've got a pinned post on my profile. If you want to look at it, that's got all the different places, all the different links to everything. It's got the links to our YouTube, our Twitch. Right now, it's my personal LinkedIn is that I'm using to go live there. I'm thinking about possibly creating another LinkedIn company specifically for Beesoft Collective, so maybe we can be a little bit more. Uh, we can have a little bit more specific stuff about what we're doing in that company, because my company on LinkedIn is actually the company from that I started back in the States. But I still use a similar name over here, so I kind of kept it there that way, and started building it over here. Um, but yeah, yeah, we'd like that. If you guys want to help us out, we can always use some coffee. I'm putting in, my full time job plus doing this on the weekends. Not saying I don't love it. I absolutely love it. That's why I'm here right now with you guys, doing this live stream and trying to just show you the stuff we're doing. And I hope you've enjoyed watching. Hopefully next time it'll be a little bit longer. I'm kind of rambling on because I was thinking this was going to take about 30 minutes, but we are hitting about 21 minutes right now. And honestly, I think I'm rambling just to try to make it last a little longer. Anyways, yeah, yeah, hit us up. There's links to any kind of sponsors if anyone wants to, if anyone feels like throwing out a couple sponsor dollars here or there. If you're looking to help, I am always open for more help. That's kind of the main thing that I'd like to push here is to have people kind of help out. And if you want to learn something, I'm all willing to help. I'm willing to kind of dive in with you, and the best, I've posted this a lot of times on X. The best way to learn is to do. And because you're not, you can sit there and you can read articles, you can read books, you can read. And yeah, I'm not saying you don't have to read. I'm not saying reading isn't important. It is very important. It's the beginning. That's the beginning. But once you get past that, if you don't actually do, it's knowledge lost. It really is, in my opinion. It's knowledge lost. And most of the knowledge that I have, most of the things I've retained and that kind of stuff, is not because I'm just some genius that retains everything, but because I've actually gone out and done it. And a lot of my projects have never seen the light of day. And you know what? I don't really care. It's all about learning. And so, but this one, I'm definitely trying to get out into the light of day, mainly because since it's a component library, it's probably something we all could use anyways. And the idea behind the component library is to try to build some third-party components that people can actually use. I'm not sure how many of you have used third-party components in most of your applications. You need building blocks to your application, and I get that. But I've also had time and time and time again, even the best third-party components fall down on the job. And that's really where this is coming from. See, I've come from a long history of being an app dev. And a lot of these people that are developing these components, they do a really good job developing components, but they're component devs. They don't really they don't really uh, understand the problems that app devs face on a regular basis. So that's what I'm trying to build here is something that's maybe a little bit more app dev centric and a little bit less, component dev centric. And hopefully, I'm really hoping that this becomes something that we can actually that that you can use and that you start using. And honestly, if you start using them, I'd really love some feedback, guys. Just tell me, hey, this I've got a problem with this. I have a problem with that. That's why we're still in a beta mode right now, because we want people to try it out. We want people to start using the components. Trying to build as many actual uh, form components as possible, because I think those are the most important. That's the place where most people use their components. This whole library started with the date time component, and that's because the company that Cliv and I are both working for right now. We were looking for a good date time component, and the company said we don't want to do that one ourselves. We want to find something else. I was tasked with going and finding it. I found a couple of them, but the build process we had set up, they weren't really working very well. Some of them didn't work well with TypeScript, and we were definitely going to use TypeScript. And so I kind of said, well, we don't need it right this second. So would you guys mind if I built it on the side? And they said, well, no, of course not. As long as you're not going to charging us for it, we don't really care. So that's where this library sort of started. It started with the date time component. And, I wanted to build pretty much the best date time component out there. And so the current date time component does simple date and time, and even date ranges. So you can usually you'll find most components do two of those, but not all three. You'll find ones that do date and time, and then ones that do date ranges. But this one does all three. And I gotta say, I can understand why there aren't too many date time components out there. It can have a lot of little intricate little problems and things that come up that you just can't imagine. I'm sorry, it's really late here, and my brain is not working on big words. So, so basically, yeah, I can understand that. I can understand why they kind of push to not do the whole daytime, and it's I've spent I probably spent a good year really ironing out most of the problems. But that's really what kickstarted this library, and then it made me go, okay, well, let's try to get some components out there that are good across the board. Let's try to get some, a lot of really good components out there that people can use. One of the things I'm also working on is maybe putting some mobile components in there. I've done that before. The last job I worked at, I had to develop a number of mobile only components that were used because they had problems with the app store and they didn't like doing that whole thing. So I pretty much developed a complete uh, mobile site basically. That was in Angular though, that wasn't in React, but still very very good. And yeah, it kind of gave me some ideas about how to build mobile components, and I built a number of them for them. So yeah, that's where we're headed with what we're doing. Um, I'd enjoy the help, or just a hey Brandon, this doesn't work. That'd be great. Anything that anyone can do, just go to the Beehive Software Consulting GitHub. Uh, it is on npm. You can just download it. You can yarn or npm install. We use Bun here, Bun add, and just try it out. Give us a shout and say, hey, this doesn't work very well, or hey, great job. I mean, I'd love to hear that one. But I'm sure since most of the testing has been just for Storybook for us, we are going to start building our own site here shortly, hopefully, and that's when we'll start to see possibly some of the problems with the components themselves. So hopefully we have that we have some feedback here soon, and I'd really that'd really be the most thing I'd appreciate right now is just a lot of feedback from people, help out, and ask me questions. You got questions about how to do things? I'd love to be here to answer. Um, I want to thank Cliv for being here, for showcasing what he's working on right now. Uh, I'm going to try to keep this the time. I think this is a good time for everyone. We've got eight. It looks if this is correct, it shows we have 8 viewers at least on my screen. Hopefully the other sites maybe. I don't know if it feeds in from everyone here from all the locations, or if this is just a specific location or whatever. But hopefully, we've got a good number of viewers. Hopefully, if not, we've got a number of people who will view will view it once it's done. It'll actually post the video back out there for everyone to see. Yeah. So I appreciate you all taking your time to listen to me drone on and talk about why I do this. And Cliv, I want to thank you for your time and for showing up and showcasing what you've done. Next time, hopefully, there's a bit more code for me. So that's it for now. Hopefully, we'll see you next week, and